And we're rolling with
Yep.
sound. Okay,
Yep.
great. We'll hand the bag to you.
Alrighty.
All right, great.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
There we go.
Okay, great. Okay, this is from, Smeltzer Sounds. Okay, hello. The itch for a project or idea, how it feels, why you can't stop thinking about it. It's a project that has to get done. What was the first project like that for
What
you?
was the first project like that? Man, there's a lot of projects like that, actually. Like I have a kind of like a hard drive of scripts that I just desperately want to make. But the thing that I tried to do was find like the great intersection between that feeling that he's talking about, like the I desperately have to make this. I want this to exist. I'm ready to lay down on the train tracks to make this work. That feeling intersecting with like kind of like realistic resources of where I am right now. And so like, you know, I have scripts that are like, you know, take place in fantasy worlds where like it would take phenomenal amounts of money to like build just the world, you know? And those are scripts I desperately want to make, but I'm just not at that level right now. So the thing for me is like it has to tick two boxes. It has to tick that feeling of just like I have to make this, and is this realistic for me to make? Because I think that one of the hardest things I learned is like the first movie, because like Then There Was Joe, which is my feature, was actually the second script that I landed on to want to make after school. So I'd written an entire other feature that I was like, I'm gonna make this one. I'm totally gonna make this one. And I started to, it was funny, I was talking to a producer friend of mine, not the producer of the movie, but a producer friend of mine. And I was saying, like, I really want to make this movie. Like, what do you think I should do? And they were like, first off, you should write a business plan. And I was like, oh my gosh, no. And they were like, and you should budget out the movie so you know, like, realistically if you can make this or not. And I like was just like, man, that sounds pretty awful, but I'll do it anyway. So I sat down and like for like a couple of weeks, I budgeted out this script, and I realized very quickly like this is like $1 million movie, and I thought just in terms of perhaps cynically, I don't know if it's realistic is the way to put it, but cynically I thought, who would give me $1 million to make a movie? Like, who would do that? And I was like, I don't think anybody would do that. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to try and figure out something else. Like a way that I could like gather at least some amount of money, because every movie costs some amount of money. It's not possible to make something with nothing. You have to have some amount of money. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do everything I can to write something that has that feeling of like, I have to make this, along with something that, to where it is also cost effective. So then I wrote Then There Was Joe, thinking like, okay, I'm gonna shoot this back home where I'm from. I'm gonna shoot it in my parents' house, where I grew up. I know for a fact that there's a guy down the street who owns this place. He'll probably let us shoot there for free, you know? And so that's what I was thinking in terms of like how to get it made. And so if I tried to do that with the other film, I think I'd still be trying to make it. I'd still be trying to come up with the money. Like, because to be frank, I'm, you know, like I'm still a first-time filmmaker. Like I just completed my first feature. I'm still like, who would give me money for my next one? I don't even know, you know? And so like I'm still sort of in that mindset of like, okay, well, I know for a fact I want to make something else. It has to resonate with me, and right now where I am, it has to be made in a way that is realistic. Like, where I'm still going to be calling in favors, most likely. You know, I think for my next film, I think I can get a larger sum of money, but not too much, you know? And knowing that like my goal eventually is just to like stair step my way into it, you know? Like each film just gets a little bit bigger than the last one, which is like, that's not too unreasonable, you know? If you go from, I think sometimes it's easy to think like, oh man, you know, I made this movie, now my next movie is gonna be a $30 million movie or something like that. And maybe I'm cynical, but I just think that's unrealistic. Maybe that happens for other people. Actually, does happen for other people, but I don't know if it would happen for me. So my goal is just to make films that I feel like I have to make, that are within a certain contained, that can be made in a relatively contained way. And what's great about that too right now is, like, you know, when I was thinking about that first script that I wanted to make that was like $1 million, now in hindsight, I would never trust Justin 2 years ago with $1 million. I would never do that, because like I just didn't have the chops then. I feel like now I could probably do that, maybe, I think, you know, but like it's just one of those things where I feel like, you know, filmmaking, especially like directing and writing, is like, it's a process to get up to direct a huge movie, you know, and I'm just gonna slowly kind of just march my way, hopefully up the stairs, until eventually I'll get to direct something really big one day. But until then, yeah, I'm gonna keep trying to make films within my means that scratch both of those boxes.
I think it's great that you wouldn't be so tempted. I mean, who wouldn't want 2 million to make something? But right. I mean, so many people have overconfidence, I think, sometimes, and it's kind of this thing that's definitely like embraced. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great that you want to kind of go to these next levels in a progression, not just totally jump.
Yeah, because like I think if I were to just jump to a huge movie right now, like I don't know how good that movie would be. You know, because like there's so many, you know, it's that whole thing like mo money, mo problems. Like that's kind of a real thing, you know. It's like, so my last movie was of a certain very small budget range. The next script that I wrote is like about twice that, but twice of a little is still not very much. You know what I mean? And I think I can handle that, and make something really solid in a very fiscally responsible way. And, you know, I like that. I like growing. I've actually learned to appreciate kind of slow growth and slow progression, and being cool with that. Because like I was talking about earlier, it's really easy to want to just get there right now. It's like, I want to direct the next Avengers movie right now. You know, you can really want that. But like, if we're realistic about it, like I wouldn't trust myself right now at this particular spot in my career. I wouldn't trust myself with an Avengers movie. There's no way, you know? And so, and when I get there, when I get to the point where I can direct something like that, I want the experience and the resourcefulness to all line up, hopefully in a way that where synergy is occurring, where I can actually meet that opportunity and like do a good job with it.